rolling, okay? And the energy here is through the roof. So how we feeling, Stephen A?
I'm feeling marvelous. I'm driving in here, RVs all outside, all over the place. You know, people going to be packed in Magic City Classic. Anybody that knows anything about HBCU knows about the Magic City Classic. That's what it's all about. Appreciate y'all being here, man. Thank y'all.
Excited.
Yeah.
My dog hitting the star, I can't do it, but you was hitting the star, you got it in your brother. I thought Stephen A. Simpson was about to step. I was like, oh my God.
Look, I wish I was able to see. We got a shimmy out here. Wait a minute, hold on. Look, you come to HBCU, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, look, Ryan Clark out here doing dances, doing a little shimmy, the shoulders,
I like
everything like that.
I like this RC.
I like this RC. All right, y'all, let's get right into it. The Crimson Tide are rolling. They have won 6 straight games, including 4 against ranked opponents. Alabama now sits at number 4 in the nation, and they look to continue their winning ways against South Carolina this weekend. Stephen A., I'll start with you. Alabama, they've had an up and down 2024. It looks like a new Alabama this time around in 2025. Have they proven that they're the best team in college football?
I don't know. I can't definitively say they've proven they're the best team, but I would tell you they're right in there. They're in the conversation. I mean, when I think about how they looked against Florida State, obviously that was a bad thing. But then they've won every game since, and they won on the road at Georgia. They just beat Tennessee. They handled Missouri. They handled Wisconsin, obviously. You're looking at the kind of things that they're doing. And this kid, it's really about quarterback play. And when you got this kid Simpson, Ty Simpson, playing ball the way that he's playing ball, this is a leading candidate for the Heisman right now. He's next level, the way that he's performed. If he continues to perform for that like that, could they win the national championship? The answer would be yes. And so when we're asking ourselves that question as to whether or not, you know, they're the #1 team in the nation, have they proven to be, I can't definitively say no when their quarterback is looking the way he's looking.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say it like this. I would argue that it's between Alabama and Georgia. I want to say Ohio State, but they haven't been as battle-tested as Alabama has throughout their gauntlet of a schedule. Right. When you see Georgia win a game like they've won last week versus a good Ole Miss team, those type of games build character, and those type of games really get you to the point where you have to say, you have to consider Georgia as a real threat. Now, for Alabama, they're in this situation where you jump to conclusion too fast. Obviously, losing the first game the way they've lost it, and everybody was up in arms about Coach Brian DeBoer, and you know, he's since bounced back.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always a level of expectation that Nick Saban has set at Alabama that might not necessarily be the standard you could keep once he's gone. But when you look at the way that they rebounded from the first game, obviously they're in this conversation. But to me, it is Ohio State. It is Julian saying, to me, the most underrated quarterback in all of college football, the one that we don't talk about him because he has Jeremiah Smith on the outside. We don't talk about him because he has Carnell Tate, who has made himself a first-round draft pick. And we're also talking about defensively, a Caleb Downs-led defense, but that's Matt Patricia, right? And I know we sometimes look at what Matt Patricia was as a head coach in Detroit, and we forget how brilliant of a defensive mind that he was. Now, the big thing for Ryan Day is in the year that Michigan is down, you have to dominate that game. You have to go out and win that game. And I get what you're saying. When I watch Georgia and Ole Miss, I think that those are two of the best teams in the country. Georgia finds a way to win, right? You have the Alabama game where Alabama edges them out. And we know that in the SEC, you're battle-tested week in and week out, and it's a battle of attrition. Ohio State hasn't shown us that yet, but I think from a talent standpoint, watching this team, to me right now, they're the most talented and best team in the country.
I can't argue with that. I'm just saying, I'm looking at Ohio State right now. You look at saying and the way they've been performing. You got to give credit where credit is due. But like you said, the level of competition that they've gone up against is a question mark. You're looking at the Big Ten. Michigan isn't what it used to be. Michigan State isn't what it used to be. You're wondering about kind of Northwest and others. You're looking at them. You're like, what's going on here? In the SEC, you're still seeing formidable teams. And Alabama is going up against them, handling their business. And you got a quarterback that's been playing lights out. What's going to deliver you a national championship? Of course, defense matters. Y'all know this better than me. But what I'm saying is quarterback play. That's what you're looking for. And right now, is there someone definitively in the country that you're going to look at and you're going to say, yo, I'm going to take them over Simpson?
Yeah.
Can you look at that? That, to me, is what
but the other thing is this, right? There are no Cam Newtons in college football right now.
That's true.
Right? We entered this season and we were talking about all these teams that might tank because they're going to try to figure out who to draft first next year.
Right.
Ty Simpson has gone to the top of that list, but it's not a list that you're salivating over if you're a coach. And so you can have a Julian Sayin who has the requisite pieces around them to make those plays. And let's remember what a young freshman wearing number 4 out of Ohio State did last year in the college football playoff. He's one of those players that can get on one of those runs that brings you a national championship.
Now, even speaking about the college football playoffs, the thing that starts to get interesting as the season goes on, especially in the SEC, if Ole Miss loses again, do you take them out of the college football playoffs versus a one-loss team? See, that's the thing, and we have to start putting emphasis on strength of schedule.
Okay.
It's so disappointing when you see a team that has not played the level of talent, and I know it's not against them. It's already inserted years ahead. But those type of things you have to consider. I would take a 3-loss SEC team before I take a 2-loss or even a 1-loss team from some other conferences.
I don't think you can do that, Cam. Not a 1-loss.
That's aggressive.
That's aggressive. 3-1, 3-1, 3-1.
I'm not gonna lie. 3 is really aggressive.
I understand that, but let's take a look back last year when we had a Boise State.
Okay.
Right? When you look at who they've played, and I know I'm going back in the time capsule and I'm just trying to bring merit to a 3-loss team.
Or TCU years ago,
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Those teams took losses, but at the same time versus a...
I just thought about something.
You did not learn that in journalism school.
Wait a minute.
Mr. Sellers did not teach that in journalism school.
I just thought about something. I got to ask you two a question. So you talked about strength of schedule. When you're thinking about a playoff team, is it about the best 12 that you believe can legitimately make it competitive for a national championship? Or is it about, look, man, this is what the record says. This is what they deserve. I mean, how do you make that call?
So last year it was the resume. You remember, people thought Alabama should get in, and we watched teams like SMU sneak in and go to Penn State and get their doors blown off. But you talked about Boise State. Boise State was in by winning their conference, right? So that wasn't in anyone's control. To me, you have to include resume, but it is the eye test as well. Right? If you're those people sitting in that room in the committee, you got to say, okay, this team has a better chance of being the champion than this 2-loss team, even though they are where they were in their conference.
Yeah. I keep going back and thinking about that TCU, and I'm just like, even though everybody watched that game and there's like, are they really supposed to be here?
You also have to remember, though, TCU won a semifinal game.
They did.
Right, they did.
It wasn't like we marched them into the national
and beat Michigan, actually.
My last thing will be this. The NCAA basketball has this thing where they do a conference challenge amongst each other. I would love for football to incorporate that. One time a year, preseason, mid-season, late season, where we have an Ohio State play a creme de la creme.
Mid-season. Not preseason.
They did it in the beginning, and that's when we found out that Arch might be in school next year, too.
You know what? Look, let me bring it back to the crowd. How we feeling back here this morning? How y'all feeling? What's the energy like? Come on, let's go. All right, they're feeling it. Let's move on to the NFL, guys, where Aaron Rodgers had to face the Green Bay Packers for the first time this Sunday. Rodgers spent the first 18 years of his career in Green Bay before being traded to the Jets in 2023. However, when asked yesterday, Rodgers insisted that Sunday is not a revenge game.
I don't have any animosity toward the organization. Obviously, I wish that, things have been better in our last year there, but, I have a great relationship with a lot of people still in that organization. And this is not a revenge game for me. I'm just excited to see some of those guys and be on Sunday Night Football again.
Okay, well, I know that Aaron Rodgers is not going to say it's a revenge game. However, we know he's been there 18 seasons with the Green Bay Packers. So, Cam, are you buying what Aaron Rodgers is selling right now?
Hell no. But because at the end of the day, you have to think about what Aaron Rodgers feels and has felt. So you mean to tell me you didn't think that I still had it? Hey, so you chose that over this. I kept my receipts, and I'm coming to cash in. You dig what I'm saying? So, yes, he doesn't want to make it about him. Nevertheless, as the competitor, you have to take certain things personal, and that's what creates that edge. If you don't think Aaron Rodgers is going into this game without saying to himself, oh, I want to show you guys that you were wrong about me. It could be love, and like I say, the professionalism in him does not want to make this a distraction about him versus them. It's more about how can I be the best version of myself to show that I'm still that guy.
I don't disagree. Only thing that I would say to y'all is sort of the Jet experience sort of took some of the luster off. If he had gone from Green Bay to Pittsburgh looking like he's looking, and then you're going to play against the Packers, that would be different. But to go to New York and to have the experience in New York that he had, it actually added credence to some of the skepticism about him that the Green Bay Packers had at that time. In terms, you got to remember, they weren't talking about him, Cam, just as a thrower of the football. They were talking about him wanting more say, wanting to lead, wanting to assist in making decisions. Like he brought Nathaniel Hackett with him. And so they were talking about those kind of things too. And he kind of proved their point a little bit.
Let me ask you this question.
A little bit.
Let me ask you this question. Looking now at what the Jets were and have been.
It's not his fault.
Do you blame him?
No, not at all.
So now when you sit up here and you say, hey, RC, hey, I'm bringing you on, bro. Like, we need you to be you. And you're experiencing these things and you're saying, like, no. We have to change. They're 0-7 right now. All right? Their starting quarterback that they thought, and even he said, hey, we're going a different direction. Do you blame him when somebody is really bullish and saying we have to win this type of way and we're not having winning recipes or tendencies to actually win? So I wouldn't put that too much against him. Now, if the Jets was like 6-1, 7-0, yeah, you could consider that. But they're 0 for right now.
Well, I mean, listen, the Aaron Rodgers piece of it is like he's the most petty human we've ever had.
Oh my goodness.
Like I'm saying, Aaron Rodgers held it against the San Francisco 49ers for 2 decades that they didn't draft him. Right, that he fell to the mid-20s. Like he played with that chip on his shoulders after Super Bowls, after 4 MVPs. He still felt the same way. He doesn't necessarily need a real meaning to being petty, to being upset, to wanting to show up and be the best quarterback on the field. Hell yeah, all of us, when I was in Pittsburgh, every time we played Washington, somebody had to see it. Right? And when we played the New York Giants and Tom Coughlin was on that sideline after, I know he told me that I couldn't make it in this league. Every hit I made, I looked right at him. Because you remember those things, you feel those things fuel you, because if you put your entire life into being one thing, and somebody in particular tells you you are no longer that thing, you want to show them every opportunity you get. And so where it's not Aaron Rodgers versus Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers versus Matt LaFleur, it is Aaron Rodgers going back to a place and playing against a team that told him he no longer was the guy that he believes he was. And I know that has to fuel him in some way.
So which quarterback, Cam, do you trust more in this matchup? Is it Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love?
I'm going with A-Rod.
Yeah.
Now, I trust A-Rod more, but I like Jordan Love's amenities. Amina. Mom Duke's here, so I can't call you.
There you go.
Look at her. There you go. But what I will say is Aaron Rodgers is playing a good brand of ball, right? That's not to say Jordan Love isn't.
Right.
But the way Aaron Rodgers has played, it looks almost vintage A-Rod, making plays outside the pocket. The guys are now understanding them, because when you play with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, he's not your prototypical guy for obvious reasons. When he scrambles, he's expecting you to still stay alive and to stay active. Receivers need to understand that. And once you start to play at that type of frequency, now that's when you start to get scared.
Here's where I'm at with it, man. I'm going to go with Love as the answer to this question by default. Because I don't trust that damn Steelers defense. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with what I see from the Steelers defense. As a matter of fact, I don't even recognize them. You understand? And that's a subject that RC is going to have to explain, okay? Because anybody that talks to him about this stuff, we hate this stuff like that. I'm looking at the Steelers defense. I'm like, who the hell are they? Where Hayward at? Where TJ at? Where's Heisman at? Where these cats at? Okay, I'm just looking at the Steelers. You're running on them. You're passing on them. They can't get stops. For years, we looked at the Steelers and we said they need a quarterback. Big Ben Roethlisberger last 2 years, might as well have retired. He's going to the Hall of Fame. We appreciate it, but damn it, 2 years too late, okay? Everybody, don't get me started with the names. They get Mason Rudolph, Demetric Trubisky. I mean, don't get me started, okay? And we finally get Aaron Rodgers, who's balling.
Yeah.
And they look like this. Nah, I don't like it. I'm not happy at all. And as far as I'm concerned, listen, everybody ain't Cincinnati. I get that part. Everybody don't have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But in the same breath, Green Bay is no slouch. They can ball. And Jordan Love can ball. And against this Steelers defense, unless it shows up and remembers who the hell they supposed to be as a franchise, why would I side with Rodgers over Love in this particular matchup? Rodgers ain't got to go against that defense. Love does.
That's what I was going to say. Individually, I trust Aaron Rodgers more because he's proven more. Jordan Love gonna have the better game. There ain't no way you watch Joe Flacco last week and say to yourself, this is a defense you can count on. And you're right. They do have future Hall of Famers in TJ Watt. You have Cam Hayward. You've went out and you've added Patrick Queen, who's played well this season. You got Jalen Ramsey, Hall of Famer. You got Darius Slay. He's been an All-Pro. Joey Porter Jr., a guy that's up and coming in this league to be a #1. And you put that on tape?
Yes.
If I'm Jordan Love, if I'm Josh Jacobs, if I'm Romeo Dobbs, if I'm Matthew Golden, this a week I'm about to get right.
That's right.
I'm calling all the fantasy owners and be like, hey, I got y'all this week.
Slow down.
I said I said fantasy owners. Slow down. You heard me say fantasy owners.
The timer cannot be the word. Inside of trading, I'm like, what?
Everybody, hold on.
You don't want to go there.
Step away from it. Look at
What I will say is this. If I'm Jordan Love, I'm eating popcorn watching last week's game saying, Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco did that? Say less. Hold my lemonade.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
Because he should be able to do, egregious work to this dormanted secondary from the Steelers. But I hate to say it like that way because last week we was extremely critical on Jalen Ramsey.
Okay.
The competitor.
He finna come back.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
And by the way, everybody ain't Jamar Chase. As a matter of fact, nobody's Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So he don't have to worry about facing that at against Green Bay this week. But still, it was a line of tape.
But this is...
And he's a part of a lot of that tape. Listen, they threw the ball at him 23 times, okay? I mean, you can't knock him. He actually didn't do that bad considering. But the bottom line is, there's a line of tape.
The thing is this, though, and this is my belief. I do believe that Mike Tomlin is one of the greatest message senders in all of football.
Okay.
He ain't got to send a message this week. If he got to walk into that building, if he got to walk into that facility and get these players tapped in, get them focused to go play this game, he's lost already.
Yeah.
When you let Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, hell, Yoshi Voss, when you let those people do what they did to you last week, nah, they stole something from you. The whole air of what the Steel Curtain used to be or what we were in the 2000s, you don't get to live off of that. Right? The same way when we stepped on the field, Joe Green wasn't finna come out there and help us. Mel Blunt wasn't finna come out there and help us.
Greenwood,
right?
Jack Ham,
Lambert, none of those. And guess what? They not coming to save this Steeler team anyway.
That's right.
So if I'm Omar Khan, if I'm Mike Tomlin, all those decisions I made in the offseason, this is the week they show up. They show up through play, execution, devotion, effort, and leadership.
Especially when you know on the other side, Micah Parsons going to show
That
up.
too. Yep.
You know, I mean, you just going to just let them show you up? I mean, do something about it. Do something.
Yeah. Look,
They better come with the same plan they came with for Myles Garrett.
yeah. I will say this, though. Jordan loves Sunday Night Football. In the last 4 games, he's had 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, so maybe
Thanks a lot, Amina.
I'm just saying. I just wanted to throw it out there, throw the numbers out there.
She does.
Always a hater.
She does deliver bad news. She does deliver bad news.
Sometimes I got
really
to.
does.
Look, we're hanging out
She really
here at
does.
Legion Field. Everybody is hyped up, ready for this weekend, guys. Coming up, Dak keeps balling out, putting up MVP numbers, but will that be enough for a Cowboys win in Denver on Sunday? Let's get it started here in Birmingham, celebrating the Magic City Classic between Alabama State and Alabama A&M. Now a word from Alabama State's president.
Good morning, First Take. I'm Dr. Quentin T. Ross Jr., the proud 15th president of the Alabama State University, the place where history is made and Hornet pride shines bright. On behalf of the entire Hornet Nation, welcome to Birmingham and the Magic City Classic, where tradition, excellence, and energy all come together. Go Hornets!